ম্যাম আসসালামু আলাইকুম। ম্যাম আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম। গুড মর্নিং এভরিওয়ান।
ম্যাম একটা কথা ছিল ম্যাম।
বলেন।
ম্যাম বলছি ম্যাম আগের দিন অ্যাডিং ড্রপে যে ম্যাম আমি একটা কোর্স অ্যাড করতে যেয়ে ম্যাম ভুল করে মাউসে ক্লিক করে ম্যাথে ম্যাম মানে ড্রপ চাপ হয়ে গেছে ম্যাম, বাট এটা ইচ্ছা করে ছিল না ম্যাম। তো এটা ম্যাম কোনোভাবে সলভ করা পসিবল ম্যাম?
আপনার কথাটা ক্লিয়ার না। ম্যাথে চাপ পড়ে গেছে মানে কি?
মানে ম্যাম ড্রপে ম্যাম আমার ক্লিক পড়ে গেছে ম্যাম, মানে ওটা ইচ্ছা করে ছিল না। আমি একটা কোর্স অ্যাড করতে যেয়ে ম্যাম এটা ইয়ে হয়ে গেছে ম্যাম। এটা কি
আপনি
সলভ করা যাবে
টিচারকে
ম্যাম?
মেইল করেন। আমার কোর্সে
হ্যাঁ
কি?
ম্যাম। জি ম্যাম, ম্যাথ 5 এ।
আচ্ছা, আমি আজকে চেক করবো যে আমার কাছে অ্যাপ্লিকেশনটা ফরওয়ার্ড হয়েছে কিনা। হ্যাঁ, যদি হয়ে থাকে আমি রিজেক্ট করে দিব। রিজেক্ট করে দিলে আর সমস্যা হওয়ার কথা না। তো আপনি তখন অফিসে যোগাযোগ করবেন। আর যদি আমার কাছে এসে না থাকে দ্যাট মিনস এখন তো অ্যাডিং ড্রপিং এর সময় দেখা যায় যে অনেক অ্যাডিং ড্রপিং কোর্স অফিস থেকে এগুলো ওরা ড্রপ করে দেয়। তো সেই ক্ষেত্রে যদি আপনি ড্রপ আউট হয়ে যান আপনি সেখানে অফিসে যোগাযোগ করবেন, ঠিক আছে?
ওকে ম্যাম, আমি একটা মেইল করেছি ম্যাম ওনাকে।
আপনার মেইলটা
অ্যাডভাইজার।
ওকে ঠিক করবেন। আপনার নামটা কি?
ম্যাম জিএম আবু বকর সিদ্দিক ম্যাম।
So I hope you can see the whiteboard.
Yes ম্যাম।
So the question is, first of all, convert the given system of linear equation to diagonally dominant system of linear equation. Hence, apply Gauss-Seidel iterative method. How many times? Apply Gauss-Seidel iterative method how many times? Only once. Only once. So one time to find the root near what? Near the given initial values. That means x0, y0, z0 is given. Correct to 2 dp. Correct to 2 dp. So go ahead.
Miss
Yes, miss.
Miss n equals to 0 এর জন্য কি x আর y আর z কি x1 y1 আর z1 হওয়ার কথা না? গাউসিয়ান
x1 y1 z1 হবে যখন আপনি একবার অ্যাপ্লাই করে ফেলবেন। ইনিশিয়ালি তো ভ্যালুগুলো x0 y0 z0, তাই নাকি?
ইয়েস মিস, বাট যে ম্যাথটা আমরা হচ্ছে গতদিন করেছিলাম ওইটাতে যে মিস n equals to 0 লিখেছিলাম তখন কি x not equals to 1.5 y not equals to -1 z not equals to 1 এভাবে লিখেছিলাম, তো ওইটাকে মিস n equals to 0 এর ক্ষেত্রে x1 এর ভ্যালু হবে না?
n equals to 0 এর ক্ষেত্রে x নট কেন বলছি আমরা? n equals to 0 মানে কি? মানে আমি এখনো ইটারেট করিনি,
ইয়েস মিস।
আমার ইটারেশন নাম্বার হচ্ছে 0। সো যখন আমি ইটারেট করিনি দ্যাট মিন্স আমার ফার্স্ট যে ভ্যালুটা আমার হাতে আছে সেটা কি আমার ইনিশিয়াল ভ্যালু? সো ইনিশিয়াল ভ্যালু অলওয়েজ স্টার্টস ফ্রম x নট, মানে x0 y0 z0. So n equals to 1 means I have already iterated once. That is the notation of n equals to 1. So then when you have iterated once, so you are just one step ahead from the initial value. That's why the values are x1, y1, z1. Okay, but as it is just guess, that means you are giving it a name. So when a baby is born, you can give any name to him or her, isn't? So it's
Yes.
your problem, your solution. If you want to name it as X1, Y1, Z1, go ahead, no objection.
ওকে মিস, আর মিস তিনটা ইকুয়েশনে যদি হচ্ছে ডমিনেন্ট অফ এক্স থাকে তাহলে তো আমার বাকি দুইটাকে ডমিনেন্ট অফ ওয়াই আর ডমিনেন্ট অফ জেড এ কনভার্ট করতে হবে না?
Yes.
ম্যাম, এমন কি পসিবিলিটিস আছে যে একটাও ইকুয়েশন ডমিনেন্ট হবে না, তিনটাই আমার করতে হবে, বের করতে হবে ম্যাম?
In future, obviously, there can be, because you are not sure that you are having a system with a dominant equation. But usually, when we give it to you, there should be at least one dominant equation.
ওকে ম্যাম, আরেকটা কোশ্চেন ম্যাম, যদি একটা ডমিনেন্ট ইকুয়েশন থাকে তাহলে কি ওইটাই ইউজ করে আমার হচ্ছে পরের দুইটা ইকুয়েশনকে ডমিনেন্ট ইকুয়েশনে নিয়ে আসতে হবে, নাকি আমি যে কোনো
Yes.
ইকুয়েশন ইউজ করতে
No,
পারবো?
you need to use the dominant equation given.
ওকে ম্যাম।
Salman Hussein, are you not in the class? Salman Hussein, are you there? I hope everyone is trying to solve the problem. Is it or not?
ইয়েস ম্যাম।
ইয়েস মিস।
Thank you.
ডমিনেন্ট অফ ওয়াইটা বের করতে পারছি না ম্যাম।
Dominant of y টা বের হচ্ছে না?
2 মাইনাস u1 করলে হচ্ছে না, i2 মাইনাস u3।
So here one of the equation is dominant or neither of them?
Ma'am, equation 2 is x dominant.
For equation 2, x is dominant. So 10x plus 7y plus 2z is equals to 8. So if you give it equation number 1, this is equation number 2, and this is equation number 3. So this one is dominant, this is dominant for x. So do you have dominant for z or y? There's a problem with dominant of y, isn't? So 10
Yes, ma'am.
minus 8, 7 minus 4, 2 minus 3. Okay, 6 minus 10 minus. বুঝিনি, আবার বলেন। That should be 4. Yes. So what do you have? we have easily E2 minus E3, that is 4, 3, and 5. So do you have a dominant equation for Z?
Yes, ma'am. E2 minus E1.
E2 minus E1. So that is my E4, which is E2. Then we can have E6, which is E2 minus E1. So E2 is my dominant equation. So E2 minus E1 is 2x. Then 7 minus 4 is 4. So plus 4y and 2 plus 7. So 7z is equals to 1. So it is dominant for Z. Okay. So next one, for using E2, we cannot have a dominant equation for y, because 10 minus 8, 2, then it's already done, it's not done. So this one is 4, 3 minus 5, now dominant. 6 minus 10 is minus 4, minus 4 minus 7 is minus 4 minus 7, which number? 10 minus 6 minus 3, and that one is it's not done. So in that case you can do what? Now you can just switch the equation to another one. That means using E2 I cannot find the values dominant equation with y, so you can use E1 and E3 together also. So is it possible to have E1 and E3 and have a dominant equation? 8 minus 6 is 2. 4 minus 3 is 3 minus 4 is minus 1, 5 minus, okay. So this is not possible to have a dominant equation with y. Okay. So let's have a little change. We make it minus. So 10 minus 6 is 4. 7, that is 11. 2 minus 7 is minus 5. So yes, it is done now. So now we can have it.
Yes, ma'am.
So do it. So it should be E2 minus, so that is 4x, 10 minus 6, 4, then plus that is 11y, then minus 5z is equals to 4 minus 8, that is minus 4. So now it is dominant of y. So diagonally dominant SLE. So next is what? We need to have the iterative formula. So iterative formula, there are how many ways, how many procedures, or how many iterative formulas there?
Is 2.
2. One is Gauss-Seidel, another one is
Jacobi.
Jacobi. You are having here
Gauss.
Gauss-Seidel. So that means the first equation should be solved for x. So x should be 1 by 10, 4 minus 7y minus 2z. Next equation should be solved for y. So y is equals to 1 by 11 minus 4 plus minus 4 minus 4x plus 5z. Then we have z. So z is equals to 1 by 7, 1 minus 2x minus 4y. So till that, anyone have any question or any problem?
No, miss.
So as it is Gauss-Seidel, that means we should start with the starting values x0, y0, z0. So whenever we're having the next value, that means n plus 1, we have only the previous set of values. So that should be yn, zn. But when we are having the second equation, now what we have? We already have x1, isn't it? So what is the latest value for x?
N plus 100.
n plus 1, but I don't have any latest value of z, so that is still zn. But when I have done this one, we have two values, so x1 and y1. So I have two latest values of x and y. So zn plus 1 is equals to xn plus 1, yn plus 1. So this is the Gauss-Seidel iterative method.
ম্যাম এখানে ক্লিয়ারলি বুঝিয়ে দেয় ম্যাম, আরেকবার বুঝিয়ে দেন।
আমরা যখন x এর ভ্যালু বের করছি, xn প্লাস 1 এর ভ্যালু বের করছি, তখন আমরা শুরু করেছি শুধুমাত্র, আমি যদি এটাকে ইনিশিয়াল ভ্যালু ভাবে ধরি, xn, yn, zn দিয়ে। তাহলে আমার xn প্লাস 1 এর ভ্যালু বের করার সময় কি কি আছে? আমরা xn জানি, yn জানি, zn জানি। আমার লাগছে হচ্ছে y আর z। তাহলে yn আর zn। যখন আমরা স্টেপটা শেষ, তখন আমার অলরেডি কি কি ভ্যালু আছে? xn, yn, zn তো ছিলই আগে, এখন আমার আরো আছে xn প্লাস 1। তাহলে এই x, আমরা এখানে y এর ভ্যালু বের করতে লাগবে x এর ভ্যালু আর z এর ভ্যালু। তাহলে x এর কয়টা ভ্যালু অলরেডি আমার হাতে আছে? দুইটা ভ্যালু, একটা হচ্ছে xn, একটা হচ্ছে xn প্লাস 1, বিকজ আমি অলরেডি xn প্লাস 1 এর ভ্যালু বের করে ফেলেছি। So which one is the most recent one? xn plus 1. So that's why we use the value of xn plus 1. But for z, we have only one value, zn. So we are using zn. After this step, we have the values. We already have the values xn, yn, zn. Now I have the value of xn plus 1, and I also have the value of yn plus 1. So whenever I'm trying to find the value of zn plus 1, that means we're going to use the most recent one. The most recent one is what? xn plus 1 and yn plus 1. So we're using xn plus 1 and yn plus 1. Now it's okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So we have the iterative method in our hands. So now we need to start. So as we need to apply only once, so x naught is given as 1.72, y naught is given as -2, and z naught is given as 1. So we need to apply it only once. So if we are trying to find the value of x1, so the equation should be, that is n equals to 0. Now that is n equals to 1. So you're replacing n equals to 1. So n equals to, as you say that when n equals to 1, it should be x2. Okay, in that way, you can write it as n0. Only to go for it, just skip it. So 1 by 10, then 4 minus 7 y naught minus 2 z naught. So if you replace the value, so 1 by 10, 4 minus 7 into y naught. What is the value of y naught? -2 minus z naught. Z naught is 1. So please press your calculator and have the value. What is it? 4 plus 14, that is 18. 18 minus 2 is 16. 16 by 10 is 1.6.
Yes, ma'am.
So now we are having the value of y1. So just have a look in the y1. So now to find out value of y1, the most recent value is x1. I need 1 by 11 minus 4 minus 4. So most recent value is x1, so I'm using x1. For z, the most recent value is z naught, so plus 5 z naught. So 1 by 11 minus 4, the result should be correct to 2 dp, so at least 3 digits should be counted. So minus 4 into 1.6 plus 5 into 1. The value is
minus 0.4909.
minus 0.4909, so 491. As we require the result correct to 2 dp, so we're going to take 3 digits after the decimal point. So if it is 4909, so one digit should be added, one should be added. So 491. Done? Everyone get the same value?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So whenever I'm trying to find the value of Z1, the most recent one are Y1 and X1. So you can use these values. So 1 by 7, 1 minus 2x1 minus 4y1. So that is 1 by 7, 1 minus 2 into 1.6 minus 4 into minus 0.491. So the value is
And minus 0.034.
minus 0.034. So what you can write? That after applying once, answer. So
আচ্ছা ম্যাম Z1 কি -0.034 হবে নাকি 0.378 হবে?
আমার কাছে তো করা নেই, আপনারা বলেন।
আমার তো 0.378 আসছে।
আর কার কি এসেছে?
ম্যাম মাইনাস 0.0
ঠিকই আছে ম্যাম।
ঠিকই আছে।
ম্যাম এটা একটু জ্যাকোবি করাই দেন।
এটা ঠিকই আছে 0.034. সো এটা জ্যাকোবিতে করলে কি হতো? আমাদের ইকুয়েশন কি এসেছিল? xn plus 1 is equals to 1 by 10. কি ছিল
1 by
ইকুয়েশনটা
10,
বলেন
yes,
তো?
ma'am. 4 minus 7 yn, ma'am.
4 minus 7 yn
Yn minus 2zn.
2zn. So first equation is same. For
Yes.
yn plus 1 is equals to
1 divided by 11
1 divided by 11
minus 4 minus 4xn plus 1. এখানে xn ই হবে যেহেতু ম্যাম আমরা আগেরটা ইউজ করব না, প্লাস 5zn
plus 5zn.
and last equation ma'am 1 by 7 1 minus 2xn minus 4yn.
So your x naught was given as 1.75. x naught কি দেওয়া ছিল?
72 ma'am.
72.
Minus
So
2 and 1.
x1 should be as it is. x1 এর ভ্যালুতে কোনো চেঞ্জ নেই, so 1 by 10. 4 minus 7 y naught minus 2 z naught, that is equals to 1 by 10. 4 minus 7 minus 2 minus 2 into 1, that is equals to 1.6. So y naught was given as
minus 2 ma'am.
minus 2. So when we are finding y1, it should be 1 by 11. We are using the previous set of values, not the recent ones, not the recent ones, previous set of values. So rather than using That should be minus 4 x naught. Rather than using x1, we are going to use x naught plus 5 z naught. So that is equals to 1 by 11 minus 4 into 1.72 plus 5 into 1. And when you are having z1, that should be 1 by 7. 1 minus 2x naught minus 4y naught is equals to 1 by 7. 1 minus 2 into 1.72 minus 4 into minus 2. So the values are the value of y1 is
minus 0.535.
and value of z1 is
Ma'am, 0.7942.
4 2, so it should be 4. So that is the difference. That means যখন আমরা জ্যাকোবি বের করছি আমরা শুধুমাত্র প্রিভিয়াস সেটটা ইউজ করে নেক্সট সেটে যাচ্ছি, কিন্তু যখন আমরা গস সিডাল বের করছি তখন আমরা কি করছি মোস্ট রিসেন্ট ভ্যালু। সো যখন আমি এই ভ্যালুটা বের করছি y1, তখন আমার মোস্ট রিসেন্ট ভ্যালু x এর জন্য দুইটা ভ্যালু আছে, সো মোস্ট রিসেন্ট কোনটা x1। যখন আমরা z1 ব্যবহার করছি তখন আমরা সেম রোতে যে ভ্যালুগুলো আছে সেই ভ্যালুগুলো ইউজ করছি, কারণ সেটা আমার মোস্ট রিসেন্ট ওয়ান। আর যদি আমরা জ্যাকোবি করতাম তাহলে প্রিভিয়াস রো এর ভ্যালুগুলো ইউজ করতাম, প্রিভিয়াস সেট অফ ভ্যালুজ। ঠিক আছে?
Yes, ma'am.
So we can go to the next topics. So system of linear equation is done. That means to solve a system of linear equation, we are here only learning two methods. One is the Gaussian elimination method, another one is the iterative method. So iterative method can be used to solve different types of equation. For system of linear equation, the methods are Gauss-Seidel and Jacobi iterative method. Gauss-Seidel and Jacobi iterative method. To solve a system of linear equation using iterative method, what is the condition? The condition is system of linear equation must be dominant, diagonally dominant. Okay, must be diagonally dominant. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So now we are going to have the next section that is known as solution of nonlinear equation. Nonlinear equation. So nonlinear means what?
ম্যাম এটা আসলে দ্বিঘাত সমীকরণ থাকতে পারে।
দ্বিঘাত কেন? ত্রিঘাত থাকলে সমস্যা?
আমি ম্যাম ত্রিঘাত বলছিলাম।
Okay, so any number, the power can be anything rather than 1. Okay, the power can be anything rather than 1. That means to be linear, the power must be 1. That was the condition. To be linear, the power must be 1. If we have an equation with a power of 1, then we say that this is a linear equation. Okay, so nonlinear means the power is more than 1 or rather than 1. The power can be negative, the power can be 3, 4, 5 rather than 1. So that is a nonlinear equation. So here we are not discussing about a system. We are just discussing about a single equation, solution of nonlinear equation. Solution of nonlinear equation. So the first class we have idea about what is solution. So just having a review again. So x square minus 4 equals to y. Can you draw that equation? Can you draw that graph?
Yes, miss. This is a parabola.
This is a parabola. So the usual way that you have learned in Math 1, that to draw a graph with the usual way is just plotting some point. Is it or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay,
miss.
ma'am.
So when the power is 1, we know that will produce a straight line. When the equation is linear or all the terms in the equation has a power of 1, then we know that is a linear equation and that will produce a straight line. To have a straight line, what is the thing? I just need 2 points. I just need 2 points. So usually what you do, usually we replace the value of one variable as 0 and you get the value of the other one. So if we replace x is 0, y is 4. Same way, if we replace y 0, x is
4, ma'am. -4. Right?
minus 4. So we have 2 points. One is -4, 0. Another one is 0, 4. So these are the 2 points. So you should connect them and extend. So that is the line. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, miss.
So if I say that find the solution of that equation x plus 4 equals to 0. So what does it mean? What I said? I have taken what? Y is equals to 0, isn't?
Yes, miss.
So what is the solution of that equation?
X equals to -4.
X equals to -4. So there are two things. The first thing is when we're trying to solve the equation, usually we set the value of y equals to 0. So for solution, at the solution, y is equals to 0. At the solution, what is the value of y?
0.
And graphically, what is that point? Where is that point? What is the solution? Where you get the value of x equals to -4 and y equals to 0?
On
Graphically আমরা কোথায় পেয়েছি পয়েন্টটা?
on the x-axis.
On the x-axis. So on the x-axis. So graphically, the solution is the cutting point of the curve at the x-axis. Cutting point of the curve at the x-axis. So intersecting point or cutting point, intersecting point at x-axis. So that is the solution. So these are the two things you need to remember. So what is the first thing? At the solution, the value of y is 0. And the second thing is the point where the graph cuts the x-axis. That is the solution. The point where the graph cuts the x-axis. So now if I want to draw this one, what will I do? The same thing, I will replace x equals to 0. So what is the value of y? Y is equals to -4. If I replace y equals to 0, what you get? Y equals to 0, then we get x is equals to ±2. So I have 3 points. One is 0, -4. So this one is 0, -4. One point is 2, 0. Another point is -2, 0. So obviously I have an idea that how the graph will look, isn't?
Yes, ma'am.
So at the solution, what is the value of y? At the solution, the value of y is
0.
0. How many solutions we have? How many cutting points we have here?
2, ma'am.
2. So solution is x equals to 2 and -2. Done? So see, the graph cuts the x-axis. That is your solution. That is your solution. So the first method we are learning that the graphical method to have the solution of a nonlinear equation. Graphical method. So as we have y equals to x plus 4 and y is equals to x square minus 4, these are very easy to draw. We have drawn it this one and we find out the intersecting point on the x-axis and we can say that this is the solution of the graph. Solution of the graph. Is that clear? কারো এটুকু কোনো অবজেকশন আছে?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
So I have drawn a graph. Can you say how many solutions are there?
Ma'am, 7.
ওগুলো ম্যাম x থেকে মানে
One,
ম্যাম সেগুলো
2,
7, ma'am.
3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. These are my solutions.
ইয়েস ম্যাম
Are these my solutions? এগুলো কি x axis কে কাট করেছে? Are these the intersecting points at the x axis?
No, ma'am. Y-axis.
No. Then how it is a solution? At the
Only
solution,
the
the
red zone.
value of y is 0. So only the red circle points are the points where the value of y is 0. So these are the solution. So the graph has 7 roots or solutions. Done? So that is another question for Viva, that I can easily ask you that at the root what is the value of y? So at the root what is the value of y?
0
0.
0.
So I can give you a graph and ask you that how many roots are there or how many solutions are there. So how will you count out that how many solutions are there?
x অক্ষকে ম্যাম যেগুলো
Intersect করবে. So the number of intersecting point at x-axis, not at y-axis, only at x-axis. So these are the number of roots or solutions that we have. So say we have a graph of y is equals to x cube. Can you draw the graph of y equals to x cube? When x is 0, y is 0. When x is 1, y is 1. When x is minus 1, y is minus 1. So I have 3 points. One is 0, 0. Another one is 1, 1. Another one is minus 1, minus 1. So should I draw it or connect it with a straight line?
No, ma'am. It is not a straight
No.
line.
Why not? Because the power is not 1. When the power is not 1, it will not produce a straight line. So I cannot just connect this with a straight line. So if it is not a straight line, what it can be, that means either it can be a straight line or it will go like an upward curve or it will go like a downward curve, isn't? So I have this 2 point. I have this 2 point. I have this 2 points. So how I will find that this is not a straight line, so this option is omitted. How I will find that this is an upward curve or downward curve? I must take a point inside. That means I must take a point in between here, somewhere here, in the middle. Then I can understand that this is an upwarding curve or downward curve. So what will I do? I will take a point in middle. So say I'm taking 0.5. So if x is 0.5, what is the value of y? Bigger than 0.5 or smaller than 0.5?
smaller ম্যাম
Is 0.125.
0.125. So it's obviously smaller, isn't? So it should be somewhere
Yes,
here.
miss.
In the same way, if I take minus 0.5, then I will have minus 1.25. So when the sign is minus, obviously it's a bigger one. Somewhere here. So now I can connect. That means from this to this, the curve is like this. From this to this, the curve is like this. So then extend. This is the graph of y equals to x cube. So for this graph, how many roots are there?
Is 1.
There is only one root. But the equation says how many roots should be there?
3, ma'am.
Is 3.
3. So where are the other 2 roots?
Is imaginary part there?
Imaginary part. So that comes the next phase, that on the graph, only the real roots are visible. Only the real roots are visible. Okay, so here we can conclude that here there are 3 roots. There are 3 roots. How many root is visible in the graph? Only 1. So
ma'am.
only 1 root is real. So 3 minus 1, how many roots are left?
2 roots.
So other 2 roots are imaginary roots. So in the graphical method, first is what? At 0. Second thing is the roots are the intersecting point at the x-axis, and third thing is the highest power of the variable will define the number of total root. So here the highest power of the variable is 3, so there are 3 roots, but only the visible roots are the real roots and the leftover terms are the imaginary roots. So as here only 1 root is visible, so other 2 roots are imaginary roots. So the question can be that in a given equation, how many roots are real and how many roots are imaginary? Find out the number of real roots and find out the number of imaginary roots. So say the question is like this.
আচ্ছা ম্যাম একটা কোশ্চেন আস্ক করতে পারে?
Yes, obviously.
আচ্ছা ম্যাম আমাদের কোয়েজটা আসলে কবে হবে?
Next week.
আচ্ছা
Next Sunday or Tuesday.
ওকে।
So the question is find out the number of real roots of fx equals to 0. Fx is equal to 0, where fx is equal to x cubed plus 4x minus 3 using graphical method. So can you draw this one, x cubed plus 4x minus 3?
Yes, miss.
Yes, if we try, you can draw it in the same way. That means we'll write the equation as, don't go ahead, just stop and listen. Y is equals to x cubed plus 4x minus 3. So we'll replace the value of y as 0 and have a value of x. So x as 0 and value of y as, say, minus 3. Then we're going to use 0. But when you use 0, do you have a solution for this equation? Do you have a solution for this equation, x cubed plus 4x minus 3? Maybe you can have it. Then we're going to have some points in between and then can draw it. But obviously that is not as easy as to draw y is equal to x cubed, is it?
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Obviously this one to draw and this one to draw are not same. That will not take the same time. Isn't? দুটো আকার কি একই সময় লাগবে? দুটো কি একই রকম easy? No. It's not easy like y equals to x cubed. Or maybe the equation gives you like this, that x cubed minus plus 4x square minus 3, something like this. So basically we are in the upper level. So obviously in the upper level you are not going to have an equation which is very easy to draw. So what you can do then? The process says that in a graphical method, if the equation is very big or equation is difficult to draw, then you can divide the function fx is equals to 0 in 2 parts. How to 2 parts? As you wish. So usually we do what? Usually we separate the functions. That means fx can be written as f1x plus f2x is equals to 0. So fx is divided in 2 parts like this. So then we can write is that f1x is equals to f2x. So আমি কি করেছি, fx কে দুই ভাগে ভাগ করেছি, একটা f1 একটা f2. সো যখন আমি রাইট সাইডে f2 টাকে নিয়ে গেছি তখন আলটিমেটলি আমি কি পেয়েছি, f1x is equals to f2x. So it is possible to do. isn't? Such as I have x minus 3 equals to 0. So obviously I can write x equals to 3. Can't we write it?
ma'am.
Yes. So the same thing you are applying, that if fx equals to 0 is your curve, then you can divide the curve in two parts. One is on the left, one is on the right. So how will you divide it? There is no basic rule how will you divide it, but usually we do what? If we have even and odd power terms together, then we separate the even parts in one side and one odd parts on the other side. Why? Because we know that if the graph is y equals to x square or x to the power 4 or x to the power 6, all are in the basic shape of this. That means the parabola. But if I have y is equals to x cube, x to the power 5, then all the shapes are like this, the basic ones. Okay? So that's why even primarily even and odd part are separated on left and right, if we have the combination of even and odd. If we don't have it, or if we think that, yeah, I can do it, or I can draw the graph at my own condition, you can go ahead, no problem. So here, the graph is given as fx is equals to x cubed plus 4x minus 3. So as all those terms are odd, but I know that if I separate this in this way, so that will be easy to draw. Why? Because we know the basic shape of y equals to x cubed. That is the graph of y equals to x cubed. That is y equals to x cubed. And 3 minus 4x, that is a straight line. That is a straight line, isn't? 3 minus 4x.
Yes,
3
ma'am.
minus 4x is equals to 0. Why? Say why. So if y is 0, what is the value of x? Y is 0, the value of x is 3 by 4. When x is 0, what is the value of y? 3.
That's
So I have
3,
2
ma'am.
points. One is 0, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, somewhere here. Another one is 3 by 4, 0, so somewhere here. So these are the 2 points. So I can easily draw that straight line. So obviously drawing the full curve at a time will take more time to draw these two curves.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's why we separate the functions in according to your wish. There is no specific rules, but usually we separate with even and odd terms. But if it is all odd or all even, then you can just do it as you wish. So in these two curves, how many intersecting points are there?
Two,
How
ma'am.
many intersecting points? Only
Ma'am, 2.
one. দুইটা কার্ভ একে অপরকে কাট করেছে কয়টা পয়েন্টে? একটা পয়েন্টে।
Yes, ma'am.
When you are saying about the solution of the whole function, so obviously the solution is same. আমার এই একটা গ্রাফ, এই একটা ইকুয়েশন যে সলিউশনটা আছে, সেই সলিউশনটা অবশ্যই কি হবে? যখন আমি দুই ভাগ করব, তারও সলিউশন হবে। That means when I separate the function in two parts, one is this and another one is this, obviously both of them share the same solution.
Yes, ma'am.
Same solution as this one. So obviously the solution should be the common point of these two curves. So what is the common point? The intersecting point. That means this is the number of real root. This is the number of real root. So what is the highest power of the equation?
3, ma'am.
So fx equals to 0 has 3 roots. How many intersecting points do you have? How many intersecting points do you have in the
One.
graph?
One,
So
ma'am.
only one root is real and other 2 roots are imaginary. Done? So that is known as the graphical method. That is known as the graphical method to find out the number of real roots and imaginary roots. Yeah, go ahead.
মিস এই যে গ্রাফিক্যাল মেথডে যদি f1x আর f2x টা মানে ভ্যালুটা যদি আমি চেঞ্জ করে নেই, জাস্ট লাইক x³ -3 এক পাশে নিলাম, আর এক পাশে হচ্ছে -4x, তো মিস ইন্টারসেক্টিং পয়েন্টটা কি মিস সেমই আসবে?
সেমই আসবে।
ওকে মিস।
ম্যাম এখানে আমরা এক্স অ্যাক্সিসে ইন্টারসেক্টিং পয়েন্টটা ধরছি না।
না, এখানে x অ্যাক্সিসে ইন্টারসেক্টিং পয়েন্ট ধরছি না, কারণ আমরা ফাংশনটাকে তো দুই ভাগে ভাগ করে নিয়েছি।
এখন ফাংশনের ইন্টারসেক্টিং পয়েন্টটা ধরবো, তাই না?
ইয়েস, যে দুইটা ফাংশনে ভাগ করেছি তাদের ইন্টারসেক্টিং পয়েন্টই হচ্ছে আমার নাম্বার অফ রিয়েল রুট। কারণটা কি বললাম, কারণ এটা যখন একটা ফাংশন আমি ড্র করতাম, ধরো এই ফাংশনটা এরকম আসতো, এই ফাংশনটা এরকম আসতো ফাংশনটা। সো এখানে কয়টা ইন্টারসেক্টিং পয়েন্ট? এক্স অ্যাক্সিসে একটাই রুট হতো। এটা যদি আমি এফ এক্স রাখতাম, ঠিক
Yes,
আছে?
ma'am. Yes,
তো এটা আঁকাটা আমার জন্য যেহেতু একটু ডিফিকাল্ট হয়ে যাচ্ছে, সো আমি এটাকে দুইটা ভাগ করেছি। এখন এই ইকুয়েশনটার যে সলিউশনটা, অবভিয়াসলি তাদের সলিউশন একই হবে, এবং একই হতে হলে কি হতে হবে, তারা একটা কমন পয়েন্টে মিলিত হতে হবে। সলিউশন কি? তাদের কমন রুটটা, এই যে আমরা সিস্টেম অফ লিনিয়ার ইকুয়েশন সলভ করে আসলাম, সেখানে সলিউশনে কি বলেছি আমরা, যে দ্য সলিউশন মাস্ট স্যাটিসফাইড অল দ্য ইকুয়েশনস ইন দ্য সিস্টেম। That means they must share a common point, and that common point is your solution. So same thing, now you are having two equations. That means x³ is equal to 0 and 3 minus 4x is equal to 0. These are a system of linear equation, system of equation. So obviously the solution must share both the equations or must satisfy both the equations. That's why the intersecting point is the number of root. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. বুঝতে পারছি।
So why we are having the graphical method to find out the root? Basically, this is the first step. That means now you need to find the solution of a nonlinear equation. As I said that as you have done in the iterative method, that you need to guess. That means whenever you are trying to use any programming language, at first you need to give an initial guess. So the graphical method is basically used to give the initial guess. That means say the root, you can understand the root is here. But if I'm starting from this point, so obviously it will take huge time to go there. So using the graphical method, that means in a rough way, you can have an idea that, okay, 0 is the near point, so I can start from 0. So that's why the graphical method is used to choose the initial value. To choose the initial value. So for that one, obviously you need to be more specific about the graph so that you can have a clear look that where the root is. So as fx was equals to x³ plus 4x minus 3, so I have divided the function in two parts. One is x³, another one is 3 minus 4x. So x³, we know that x³ will give you 1, 1. So this is the point 1, 1. This is the point minus 1, minus 1. And this is the point 0, 0. So the graph will be like this. আমরা বলছি না যে আপনি একদম গ্রাফিক্যাল পেপার নিয়ে খোপ কেটে কেটে করেন, বাট একটা মিনিমাম মেজারমেন্ট। So next one, if find out that this equation will produce 2 points. One is when x is 0, the value of y is 3. And when y is 0, the value of x is 3/4. So what is the numerical value of 3/4? Numerical value of 3/4, use the calculator. What is it?
0.75.
0.750. So that means if it is 1, 0.75 should be somewhere here. 0.750. And 0, 3, so if it is 1, 2, it should be somewhere 3 somewhere here. So that is your (0, 3) somewhere should be here. So you need to connect these 2 points. So what you can guess, this is my root. I want to have a interval for the root. So what you guess, the root is where? This is the point 0.75, isn't it? This is the point 0.75. So obviously the root is before 0.75.
Yes, ma'am.
So let the root is x. So this is a interval. So obviously the root is before 0.75. And if it is 0.75, so if it is 1, so there should be 0.5. So isn't the root is after 0.5? Can I say that the root is after
Yes,
0.5?
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So we can say that we don't know what is the exact root, but we can say that the root is in between the interval 0.5 to 0.75.
Yes, ma'am.
Isn't? So this is the interval that we are assuming from the graph that the root may be in between this range. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So now we are assuming that one. So obviously mathematics or the life will not go with assume, isn't? I cannot assume a thing and I cannot solve it. I need a proof or solid evidence that, yeah, the root is here. Yes or no?
Yes.
When I'm
Yes,
saying
Yes, ma'am.
that this is the graph fx, what is the root? This is my root. This is my root. At the root, what is the value of y? Y is
0, ma'am.
0. That means your fx is 0. Isn't?
Yes, miss.
So if this is my root, after the root, if I take a point here, the value of fx, what is it, positive or negative?
Positive, ma'am.
Positive. Before the root, if I take a point here, the value of fx is positive or negative?
Negative, ma'am.
Negative.
Negative. Same way, if I draw a graph like this, so this is my root. Fx equals to 0 equals to y. Before the root, what is the value of fx?
Positive, ma'am.
After the root, what is the value of fx? Negative.
Yes, ma'am.
If I say that this is the point A and this is the point B, same way this is the point C and this is the point D. So can I say that x is the root which belongs to the point A to B?
I can say that.
B is positive. So f of A into f, that is negative into positive. So ultimately the value is negative. For same, this one, the root is in between the interval C to D. So f of c is positive here and f of d is negative here. So f of c into f of d is equals to positive into negative is equals to negative. So what you can conclude? আমরা কি কিছু কনক্লুশনে পৌঁছাতে পারি?
Yes, ma'am, the ultimate value will be negative.
Value of what?
Function of x.
Functional value. Functional or to minimize the interval of the root, such as first of all we find out that x is element of 0.5 to 0.75. The functional value of f of 0.5, we find out that this is negative, and the functional value of f of 0.75, that is a positive value. So I want to minimize the interval. আমি ইন্টারভ্যালটাকে আরেকটু ছোট করতে চাচ্ছি। তো আমার ইন্টারভ্যালের প্রথম পয়েন্ট ছিল 0.5 থেকে 0.75. So what do you think? What can be the minimized interval? আমি আরেকটু ছোট করতে চাচ্ছি, আপনি কত নেবেন বলেন তো গ্রাফ থেকে? এই পয়েন্টটা কার কাছে আছে? 0.5 এর বেশি কাছে আছে না 0.75 এর বেশি কাছে আছে?
0.75 এর বেশি আছে।
0.75 এর।
তাহলে আমি যদি গ্রাফটাকে ছোট করতে চাই, আমি ইন্টারভ্যালটাকে ছোট করতে চাই, আমি কি নিব? কার কাছে পয়েন্ট নিব?
0.65 থেকে 0.75.
0.65. Okay, let's type 0.7. So what I need to do? I need to find the functional value of 0.7. This value comes as negative. This value comes as positive. So what is the value of f of 0.75? 0.7, 0.7 whole cube plus 4 into 0.7 minus 3. The value is?
Miss 0.143.
0.143. That is positive.
Yes, miss.
So what do you think? In which interval do I have the root? আমার ইন্টারভ্যাল হতে হলে একটা ভ্যালু পজিটিভ হতে হবে, একটা ভ্যালু নেগেটিভ হতে হবে। সো কোন ইন্টারভ্যালটার মধ্যে আমার রুট আছে?
0.5 to 0.7.
0.5 to 0.7. Why? So next interval you can choose that 0.5 to 0.7 because the value of f of 0.5 is negative and the value of f of 0.7 is positive. That means now my next interval is this. Done? So still there is a difference of 0.2. I want to minimize it again.
It's
So which
0.6 to 0.7.
So okay, go ahead for 0.6. So I'll check the value of 0.6. So f of 0.6, the value is
Miss minus 0.384.
minus 0.384. That
384.
means this value comes at minus. So where is the
Yes.
root?
Miss 0.6 to 0.7.
0.6 to 0.7. So we have minimized the length with a 0.1 interval. So this one f of 0.6 is negative and f of 0.7 is positive. So that is a trick. That means আমাদের যদি ইন্টারভ্যালটা অনেক বড় আসে, ধরো আমার গ্রাফটা আমি খুব ভালো করে আঁকতে পারিনি, আমি গ্রাফ থেকে খুব ভালো একটা অ্যাজাম্পশন পাচ্ছি না যে আমার কত ইন্টারভ্যাল হতে হবে, তখন আমরা কি করব? We are going to apply the mathematical method to minimize the length of the interval. To minimize the length of the interval. So is it okay what I'm trying to understand you? Make you understand?
Yes, miss.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So graphical method is basically applied to do what? Applied to do, first thing is to find out the number of real roots. That means we are not bothered about the imaginary roots here, we are only bothered about the real roots. So the first thing is we are trying to find out the number of real roots. And the second thing is we are trying to find the interval where the root is. We are trying to find the interval where the root is. So from the graph, we have find out the interval, we have find out the number of roots we have. Then the next step is maybe the graph is not very clear and we cannot draw it very prominently. So what we are going to do, we are applying the mathematical method to minimize the length of the interval because it will be very easy if we can minimize it. So usually the length should be within 0.5 to 0.1, not more than that. If the length is in between 0.5 to 0.1, then you can reach to the root very quickly. Otherwise, it will take a long time. So the next equation you are trying, let's. So আমার রিকোয়েস্ট থাকবে আপনারা এক্সারসাইজে অনেকগুলো দেওয়া আছে প্রবলেম, গ্রাফগুলো আঁকার চেষ্টা করবেন। যে গ্রাফটা আঁকতে পারবেন না নেক্সট ক্লাসে বললে আমি সেটা এঁকে দিব। ওকে, বাট এখন আপনারা নিজেরা আঁকার চেষ্টা করবেন। So the first question is find the number of real root and the interval of the roots for this function. So how will you divide it? X to the power 4 minus 2x minus 5?
Miss x to the power 4 equals to 2x plus 5.
Very good. So it will be easier if we draw it x to the power 4 in one side and 2x plus 5 in another side. So do it as your homework. Next one, how will you do it? Both are even, but
Miss x to the power 4 plus x square equals to 80.
I think you should draw it like this, then it will be easier to draw. And that one is give it x cube in one side and this one is another side. You can draw it in two ways. One is this, or you can draw it in this way. Whatever you feel easy, no problem. Okay, so let's try this one as we have 5 minutes. So x to the power 4, you can easily draw it this x to the power 4, that is x to the power 4. 80 minus x square. So how will you draw it? 80 minus x square is equal to y. So when x is equal to 0, y is x equals to 0, y is
80.
80. Y is equal to 0, x is plus minus root over 80. Calculator tipen value chole asbe.
Miss 8.94.
8.94. So আমরা 8.9 নিয়ে কাজ করতে পারি। So 8.90 minus 8.90. So I have 3 points. So say this is 0.80 and this is the value very near. If it is 80, so obviously somewhere here very near to this, because for this one x to the power 4 equals to y 1 1, isn't 1 1 minus 1 1. So we are assuming that this is the point 1 1 and minus 1 1. So it should be near this. So 0.89 somewhere here. একটু ভালো করে রাখলাম আমাদের জন্য সুবিধা হবে। চেষ্টা করি একটু একটা মেজারমেন্ট ঠিক রাখতে। This is 1 1 minus 1 1. এটা যদি আমার 1 1 হয় minus 1 1 হয়, then 8 should be somewhere here and 80 should be somewhere here. 1 1 টা আরো ছোট ধরি কারণ 80 is a big number. So these are the 1 1 and minus 1 1. So it should be somewhere here and here. So the next graph will be like this. So what you can assume? What will be the interval? How many real roots are there?
Miss 2.
4 roots are there. 2 roots are real. 2 are
Imaginary.
Then you need to find the interval. So obviously the interval should be 1 to 8.9. 1 থেকে 8.9 এর মধ্যেই তো আছে আশা করছি।
Yes,
So
miss.
we are assuming. So how will you find it out? F of 1. What is the value of f of 1? 1 plus 1, that is minus 78. and f of 8.9. Find out the value of f of 8.9. F of 8.9 is 8.9 to the power 4 plus 8.9 whole square minus 80. কত হয়?
minus 78.58.
Again minus 78. और তো কথা না, পজিটিভ চলে আসার কথা। ঠিক মতো করেছেন? সবার নেগেটিভ এসেছে ভ্যালুটা?
ম্যাম আমার তো 6 to 7 3 আসছে না এত
এরকম
বড়
আসার কথা, কারণ 8k to the power 4 করলে তো অনেক বড় হয়ে যাবে। 64 into 64, that is a huge big number. So obviously it should be positive. কত আসে আপনার? পজিটিভ ভ্যালুটা বলেন।
6 to 7 3.43 41
6273.4. So the root is inside because this value is negative, this value is positive. Then you can apply the method. Sir, ঢুকে যান। ঢুকেন। Okay, thank you everyone. That's all for today's class. Please practice the exercise. আরে আপনি রেডি করতে থাকেন, এখন তো আমাদের এক্সট্রা কাজ করেন, রেডি করেন। Okay, thank you everyone. Okay, if there is any problem you can email me or you can just drop a message on Microsoft Teams.
ম্যাম
Yes.
ম্যাম আমার ওই যে সাবজেক্টের বিষয়টা একটু দেখেন ম্যাম কাইন্ডলি।
হ্যাঁ, আপনার মেইলটা আমি দেখেছি, আমি একটু পরে দেখছি।
ম্যাম
জি বলেন।
আমি তো ম্যাম ওই যে অ্যাডিং ড্রপিং থেকে অ্যাড হয়েছিলাম, তো বাকি দুইটা ক্লাস তো মিস করেছি। কনসাল্টিং পাওয়া যেতে পারে?
অবশ্যই, আপনি ক্লাস লেকচারটা দেওয়া আছে দেখেন, আমাদের প্রত্যেকটা লেকচার
ম্যাম আমি
আপলোড
তো
করা
টিমে
আছে।
এখনো অ্যাড করি, আপনি এখনো অ্যাড করেন না আমাকে।
আপনাকে এখনো অ্যাড করিনি?
জি না
আপনি
ম্যাম,
আমাকে
আমি
টেক্সট
জাস্ট
করতে পারছেন?
জি ম্যাম টেক্সট তো
তাহলে
করেছিলাম।
আপনার আইডি সহ আমাকে টেক্সট করেন। আপনি আপনার নামটা আবার একটু টেক্সট করেন যে ম্যাম আমি এখনো টিমসে অ্যাড হইনি। ওকে,
ওকে ম্যাম।
অ্যাড করলে আপনি ফাইলগুলো পেয়ে যাবেন। আমি প্রত্যেকটা ক্লাস লেকচার আপলোড করে দিই। সো ফাইলগুলো
আচ্ছা
পেয়ে গেলে ওখান থেকে দেখে কি প্রবলেম সেটা আমাকে একটু টেক্সটে লিখবেন, তাহলে আমি বুঝতে পারবো আপনার কতক্ষণ সময় লাগবে, সেই হিসেবে আমি আপনাকে টাইম দিব। ওকে।